In just one night, federal agents storm in, face intense gunfire, capture 8 suspects alive with not a single injury.
Officers seize guns, drugs, money, and suspected gang members themselves.
Can you imagine an ordinary house in South Houston, but inside is a solid cartel fortress with 410-pound steel doors, 62 cameras, a command bunker streaming live to Mexico, and 780 pounds of drugs along with $2.3 million in cash. In just one night, federal agents storm and face intense gunfire, capture 8 suspects alive with not a single injury. This isn't an action movie. This is the real Trump-ordered kill shot operation dismantling the Sinaloa-CJNG alliance, quietly building an underground empire on American soil. Are you ready to uncover the secret map and expansion plan that stunned Washington? Watch now. Agents have seized $40 million worth of drugs from the Sinaloa-CJNG alliance in South Houston during President Trump's crackdown operation. Hotels are now officially in the Pentagon's sights, and it's no longer just about the wall. Trump has ordered decisive action. Agents recovered hundreds of pounds of drugs, dozens of weapons, and a fortified command center disguised as an ordinary house. 3 suspects were arrested tonight, with federal officials calling this one of the most decisive blows against Mexico's most violent cartel network. But investigators say this is not just a drug bust, it has exposed a secret expansion plan that could change everything. From the outside, the 3-story house on Calhoun Street looked harmless. Just another quiet home in South Houston. But when federal agents raided it, everything changed. They discovered what no one expected: 780 pounds of drugs, 14 guns, 27 encryption devices, and more than $2.3 million in cash hidden behind false walls. A fully operational cartel fortress responsible for transporting more than $42 million worth of drugs across 14 states. What shocked investigators was not just the volume, but the sophistication. A 410-pound front door reinforced with double steel plates. Interior walls rebuilt with military-grade bracing. 62 cameras connected to a bunker-style basement equipped with encrypted radios, surveillance monitors, and routers streaming live to Mexico. Every window was equipped with motion alarms. Even the ventilation ducts were wired with motion detectors. One agent summed it up in a single sentence: "This wasn't a stash house, this was a combat position." And the deeper they dug, the clearer the truth became. The Sinaloa-CJNG alliance wasn't testing Houston. They were establishing territory, infiltrating American neighborhoods with the precision of a shadow army. The Houston fortress was just the hub of a much larger system. In 4 months, federal analysts traced a pattern that extended far beyond Texas: an underground logistics grid feeding cartel smuggling routes through 10 U.S. states. What began as a single surveillance lead has turned into a full blueprint of interstate transport routes run by the Sinaloa-CJNG alliance, pushing drugs north and weapons south with the precision typically seen in military supply chains. Investigators learned that the South Houston cell oversaw 10 satellite stash points, each disguised as ordinary rental homes in Arkansas, Tennessee, Louisiana, Mississippi, New Mexico, and Oklahoma. These were not simple warehouses. They were micro-hubs designed to break large shipments into smaller loads before sending them to distribution centers in Denver, Chicago, Kansas City, and St. Louis. The intelligence picture grew darker. Agents intercepted encrypted messages routing through off-grid devices and hidden servers. Traffic flowing to handlers in Culiacan and Jalisco. Financial tracking uncovered nearly $18 million moving quietly through shell companies in Mexico and small Texas businesses serving as fronts for logistics, transport, and construction. The network operated like a multinational corporation, except every shipment fueled the fentanyl crisis ravaging American communities. A senior DEA analyst put it bluntly: They're not hiding, they're scaling up. The Sinaloa-CJNG alliance isn't just smuggling, they're building infrastructure. Roads, drop points, payment channels, feeder houses. Every piece calibrated to extend influence across the South and Midwest. For the first time, federal agencies saw the full picture, a silent expansion spreading like roots beneath the nation's soil. And with that clarity came the urgent question. How do you dismantle a system this deeply entrenched before it erupts into open violence? If this feels like it's escalating fast. At 3:47 a.m., the situation shifted. Surveillance drones detected cartel lookouts moving to new positions. Thermal signatures showed activity inside all 6 target houses and 2 cartel vehicles. A black SUV with makeshift armor patrolled between the sites like a mobile command post. This wasn't a hideout crew, this was a battalion gearing up. Federal command updated instantly. Cartel armed with rifles and tactical gear, expect coordinated resistance. At 4:03 a.m., the first raid team approached Target 3. From the outside, it looked like an abandoned duplex, but as the team stacked up at the door, cartel gunfire erupted. Controlled bursts from AR-15 style rifles with illegal modifications aimed low to pin agents behind the shield line. Muzzle flashes flared in the darkness. One agent later said it felt like stepping into a steel storm. Inside the cartel, gunmen moved with discipline. 2 held the staircase with short-barreled carbines braced behind sandbags. Another group withdrew to the basement, hauling duffel bags stuffed with cash, encrypted tablets, and suppressed pistols. A lookout in the kitchen live-streamed the clash through a helmet camera, feeding every angle to handlers in Mexico. But the United States didn't walk in blind. They arrived with overwhelming modern force. FBI SWAT advanced with ballistic shields and 5.56 tactical rifles, coordinated with DEA breach teams and armored entry tools. Homeland Security operators provided overwatch with night vision tracking gunmen through smoke and debris. On the perimeter, ATF deployed armored rescue vehicles to block escape routes while local units sealed the street. The fight was brutal as agents breached the living room. Cartel gunmen moved in pairs, one firing one, reloading, trying to slow the advance. Dust hung thick. Alarms screamed. Interior floodlights strobed, making every shadow come alive. The staircase was the hardest point, a narrow choke where gunmen dumped full magazines in trained short bursts. But as the federal teams synchronized their push, everything shifted. FBI SWAT punched through the stairs, DEA operators flanked from the rear wall. Homeland Security cut power to the entire block, killing cameras and motion sensors. In under 90 seconds, the bunker was isolated, surrounded, overwhelmed, blinded. The last 2 gunmen dropped their weapons. All 8 suspects were taken alive. No agents injured. A field commander said afterward, "They fought hard. We fought with everything the nation brought." And as the sun rose over Houston, similar reports confirmed at 5 other targets. The cartel showed firepower. America showed dominance. If this feels like it's escalating fast, comments stopped them to jump to the moment agents realized the cartel was gearing up for a fight. When the gunfire stopped, the real war began. Not with weapons, but with information. As agents swept through the South Houston fortress room by room, what they uncovered went far beyond drugs and guns. It exposed the political reach, financial muscle, and long-term ambitions of the cartel alliance embedded deeper into American infrastructure than anyone in Washington had ever publicly admitted. Inside the bunker, agents opened 34 locked steel boxes, each one an artery in the organization's command structure. Ledgers documented nearly $120 million USD in annual revenue flowing directly through the Houston corridor. Hard drives stored encrypted exchanges with mid-level coordinators in Culiacan, Zapopan, and Sonora. A tablet hidden behind a magnetic false panel contained files linking the Houston network to political contacts in 3 U.S. states. Do you think an ordinary house in your neighborhood could be hiding a cartel fortress with 780 pounds of drugs, 62 cameras, and a command bunker live streaming to Mexico? Or do you still believe that only happens somewhere else? Not senators or governors, but the people who make the system run. Inspectors, planning clerks, contract coordinators, precisely the leverage points cartel planners targeted to bend American bureaucracy to their advantage. The most alarming discovery wasn't the money. It was the architecture. Federal analysts uncovered digital blueprints outlining a 2-year expansion plan. 8 fortified houses slated for construction, 5 in Texas and 3 surrounding Memphis and Little Rock. Each site laid out in 3 phases: acquisition, fortification, activation, with diagrams resembling forward military operating bases more than criminal stash houses. Even more alarming, a folder contained draft rezoning applications, evidence the cartel had already begun infiltrating administrative channels to quietly secure building approvals. As the intelligence report hit Washington at 7:40 a.m., the reaction was immediate. The Attorney General convened an emergency call with Justice Department leadership describing the findings as a territorial expansion effort by a foreign terrorist organization on American soil. Within an hour, the Secretary of Homeland Security issued a public statement confirming what federal officials had privately suspected. The South Houston hub was not a local cell. It was one of 6 regional command nodes operating inside the United States. At the White House, senior advisors pushed for a unified response, warning that the operational collapse exposed a reality the nation had been reluctant to face. The cartel wasn't just smuggling, they were positioning territory, logistics, influence, and infrastructure. Later that morning, the Texas governor held a joint press conference with federal officials. His words were brief and uncompromising. "We're not dealing with street criminals. We're dealing with a foreign network operating with military discipline and political intent. Texas will respond in kind." Behind the scenes, members of Congress demanded deeper intelligence. Some pushed for expanded anti-cartel designations, arguing the Sinaloa-CJNG alliance had crossed the threshold from criminal enterprise to semi-military threat. One senator put it bluntly, "If foreign actors are building fortified command posts in our neighborhoods, this is no longer law enforcement." This is national security. As the political shockwave spread, agents continued cataloging evidence. They uncovered attempts to influence planning boards' property purchases, engineered to conceal cartel ownership, and donation flows through shell companies into small city campaigns. Not enough to charge elected officials, but enough to prove the cartel was probing for cracks. By dusk, one fact was undisputed. The Houston Fortress wasn't just a drug hub, it was a foothold, an anchor point for a foreign network testing how far it could push into American soil. And the message from federal leadership was clear. The cartel had plans for America. Now, America had plans for them. By the time the South Houston Command Center fell, federal agencies were already acting on intelligence from the seized tablets and lockboxes. What emerged was a rapid response blueprint designed not just to dismantle one network, but to break the cartel's expansion cycle across the American South. And within hours, Washington authorized the most aggressive multi-state tracking operation in recent memory. Data from the Houston bunker identified 2 additional fortified houses in Texas, one in the Dallas area, one near San Antonio, along with 3 activation sites in Tennessee and Arkansas.
Could you take this slide out? I got negotiators for you, Chief.
Each location disguised behind shell homeowners, short-term leases, and cash renovations. But one detail stood out. All 5 sites were slated for Phase 2 within 90 days, meaning armories, command rooms, and reinforced walls were either under construction or already in place. Federal leadership didn't wait. Inside the FBI's Crisis Coordination Center, analysts fused satellite sweeps, financial tracking, and intercepted encrypted communications. DEA mapped courier routes feeding the Memphis corridor. ATF assessed weapons movements tied to straw buyers in Oklahoma and Louisiana, and Homeland Security deployed mobile tactical teams to seal known border crossings used to funnel cartel commanders north. By late afternoon, Operation Iron Meridian, the official name for the counteroffensive, was in motion. In the Dallas area, tactical officers converged on a stash disguised as a building materials distributor. Inside, they found racks of rifle parts, ballistic plates, encrypted radios, and more than 1,200 pounds of chemical precursors destined for temporary pill labs. The building was fitted with motion-triggered floodlights and fire-resistant walls designed to delay federal entry. Agents also seized 3 SUVs in early stages of armor modification, confirming cartel plans to build mobile units like those used in Mexico. San Antonio told a different story. The target house wasn't yet fortified, but its basement was packed with voter registration list, property records, and city planning files. The cartel wasn't just preparing bunkers, they were preparing leverage. Analysts believe the documents reflect efforts to predict political obstacles, who could be influenced, who couldn't, and which local systems were vulnerable to outside pressure. Meanwhile, in Tennessee, Homeland Security intercepted a cartel runner convoy carrying cash and encryption gear bound for Nashville. The pursuit ended without gunfire, but the message was clear. The cartel tried to relocate command structures. The federal government caught them mid-move. By nightfall, senior Washington officials issued a joint statement declaring the CJNG Sinaloa regional network systemically damaged and operationally degraded. What followed was the United States making its intent unmistakably clear to dismantle that network. Every house, every corridor, every foothold, until nothing remained. In the end, this operation served as a reminder that while cartels adapt, America's defenders adapt faster. The fortress in Houston showed how far a criminal network would go, but it also proved how much stronger federal agencies are when they move as one. FBI, DEA, DHS, and local partners stopped the threat long before it reached our streets. That's the lesson. Vigilance wins, and courage on the front line matters. If you stand with the men and women protecting this nation, hit like, comment, honor, and subscribe to help get this story to more Americans. The biggest lesson from the Houston Fortress takedown is everyday vigilance can save an entire nation. An ordinary rental house, a small business, or an innocent-looking rezoning application, any crack can be exploited by cartels to build an underground empire. The FBI, DEA, and DHS only won because of linked data drone tech and communities reporting the unusual. Every citizen is the first sensor suspicious vehicles, large cash deals, odd renovations, called 911 or the tip line. Vigilance isn't a slogan, it's the strongest weapon against silent invasion. The Houston Fortress has fallen, but the war against the Sinaloa-CJNG underground empire rages on from Texas to Memphis, from fortified bunkers to corridors of power. America has proven when the FBI, DEA, and DHS stand united, no foothold is safe for foreign enemies. Do you think the cartel will stop or keep quietly building? Comment "Keep fighting" if you back the frontline agents. Stop them if you want Washington to expand Iron Meridian nationwide. Like, subscribe, hit the bell. Don't miss the next part.